Welcome back to the garden. Today is Sunday, May 16th, 2021. I wanted to give you an update of some of the spring garden successes and failures. As I predicted, not everything has turned out as I would have liked, but as you see in the title, when God gives you lemons, you go to Lowe's. So I'm going to show you what I bought from Lowe's today. In addition to this lovely planter, which has a plant, the bottom part too, I just want to show you because that's how I brought them out to the garden. These are 2 watermelons here. I've got orange bell, sweet bell pepper. I've got another sweet bell pepper. I think most of these are bell peppers I got at Lowe's today. Another one, and then a Cajun bell, which is supposed to be a spicy bell pepper. I've never grown this one before, so it'll be the first time around. So essentially what I think happened, what went wrong? I planted my tomatoes that I started in the house. Those seem to be okay. My pepper plants, most of those got devastated within the first few days of being out here in the garden. When I came out to check on them, they were just stalks. No leaves, just stalks, and a couple of them just seem to be gone altogether. So that to me means some pest. I don't know that an insect, possibly an insect got to it and just took all the leaves off. Could have been a small animal like a rabbit or something like that got into the garden. I don't know, but it just really sucks. So the peppers had gotten along so far that it's almost kind of too late for me to start them from seed. I'm disappointed because I had some good varieties that I started. But when this happens, you can still go to your local lawn and garden place and get some peppers like I got here. It's just not the same as what I wanted to grow. So next year I'll try to be a little bit more diligent and stay on top of making sure that my fencing is still good and spray and pest deterrents, right? So speaking of those, what I wanted to show you, and I'm not sure why this is an afterthought sometimes in my mind, but I'll plant my garden and then later I'll go back and make sure that the fencing is good. It's not a good idea. I really should do it the other way around. Make sure my fencing is good, spray some good spray, and then go from there. So let me show you the spray. So in previous videos you may have seen me use some white powder on my plants. That's the diatomaceous earth. This container, which I still use sometimes, the original containers for 7 Dust, I use it. I try not to use it that often because it has a negative effect, I think, on bees, which are good pollinators. So I try to use the diatomaceous earth. I think it says DE on there, right? The other thing that I use that works pretty good in the garden is this deer and rabbit spray. I think it's supposed to smell like their urine. It doesn't smell very great, but it has seemed to help in the past. The other issue I had this year, again, this is what, the middle of May now. If you're in zone 7B like I am, the past week or so has been really rainy, which is great for, you know, the plants, but I think it also washes away stuff like these. It just washes it away, and you can't get out here frequently enough to replace it because it's just going to wash away again. But in the meantime, it's leaving kind of your vegetables open to whatever normally wants to eat them. So it's May. We have a long growing season, so while I would have liked for things to have been really up and growing and bountiful and gorgeous, it just didn't happen this year, and it's fine. I've still got time, and luckily we've got those big box stores. So I'm gonna plant some of the new pepper plants that I planted. I also planted some seeds, which of course you can't see seeds, but they're in here somewhere, and we're gonna see if they come up. The other issue that I've had so far this year is that for me, or to me, it's been unseasonably cool. If you're in zone 7B like me, again, let me know if you think it's been unseasonably cool. I've only been gardening here in Georgia for a few years. I was in Florida before, but it just seems really cold. Like, I'm not sure, like my green beans, all the things I planted from seed, I think they're confused. They're just not ready to come up yet. Even my sunflower seeds, I haven't seen much germination yet. I'm hoping it's because of the weather and that maybe in the next week or so things will get better. We'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments. But again, I'm going to plant the pepper seeds now. I'm also going to show, not the pepper seeds, sorry, I'm going to plant the pepper plants. And I'm also going to show you what the tomatoes currently look like. Before I plant the new peppers in the ground, I want to show you where I stand as of today, which includes some of the things I started from seed, some of the other plants that I purchased recently. Again, I have not had the best start to this season, but I really feel like with the big box stores being around, you can kind of make up for some lost time. Okay, so let's start. Okay, let's start here. These are some of my, let me see it here. Yep, this baby here is either zucchini or yellow crookneck squash. They all kind of look the same to me. So I've got 1, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those, and then somewhere down in here, which has not germinated yet, should be either watermelon or cantaloupe. I had to get those from the store. I planted them from seed in the same spot, so it might be in a week or so, once the weather gets warmer, we might see more plants than are necessary in that row. But it's just been cold, and I said, listen, either the seeds are going to get, what does it happen when they're kind of in the ground too long? But they're wet and they just won't germinate right because they're just wet and cold. I don't know, but I got to do something. I can't let the season go to waste, you know? So let's see what else can be seen. Let's see. Okay, so this was my pepper plant row. And as you can tell, there you don't see much, right? So let me see if I can see anything in here. There were peppers. Oh, here's one that's still kind of hanging on. You see this one here? See how bad that is? This one was my Golden California Wonder. So I can't tell. This looks like it's been chewed on too. Looks like it's been chewed on, just kind of eaten up. So it's very frustrating, but a lot of them look like that with like no leaves at all. So I'm gonna leave this one and see if it comes back. Let's see. Here's one here that I was able to salvage. This was a chocolate bell. We'll see if this one comes back. This was my chocolate bell. Again, you see some damage there. We'll see if it comes back. And then this row, there was one here. It's just empty. There was one here, gone, a YOLO pepper. There was one in this hole here. This one I think I bought maybe a week or so ago just because I had more space. This one is a purple bell sweet pepper. Okay, on to the tomatoes. Let's see. Okay, so there's still some peas that I'm leaving hanging around here, right? The tomatoes favored fairly well. Nothing really seemed to get to them. I haven't seen too much growth, and I think that's because of the weather still. So here's one here. This one was the pineapple tomato. It seems to be going well. These are the peas that are still kind of doing their thing. The golden nugget tomato is here. More peas. This one is the black creme tomato. She's doing well. Peas. They're actually getting taller and getting some nice flowers on them. It's kind of cute. Look at that. Really pretty. I've never had this much success with peas before. Let's see what else we got. This one is a Rutgers tomato plant. That's still fine. This one I believe also is Rutgers. Rutgers there. And this one down here, oh, it says beefsteak, but I don't see the plant. So, let's see. Oh, there it is. Ha! Beefsteak. Okay. So that's the first row of tomatoes. I'm going to walk and let you guys take a look at my other row of tomatoes. Of course, these, if you guys are new to my channel, this trellis is for my cucumbers and my pole beans. I planted pole beans from seed. We'll see what happens when the weather warms up. I purchased some cucumbers. I planted cucumbers from seed too. and they have not sprouted. They have not sprouted yet. So I bought some just because it was there, right? Some of them seem to have disappeared as well. Some are still hanging on. So I'm going to show you where the cucumbers should be. Along this trellis, there was one there. It's gone, gone, gone. This one's hanging on, right? Gone, hanging on, hanging on. Those are my cucumbers. I'm going to keep going down this row. This is a pineapple tomato here, still good. Black creme tomato, still good. Golden nugget tomato, still good. Beefsteak tomato. The last tomato I have down here, I do not see the name for, but the tomatoes are doing fairly well. The last row that I have to show you would be the okra. So here we go. Oh, one more thing. I planted blackberry. Let's see what this is. This was last year. Let's see. I think it's called a blackberry mulberry. Look at that. I was wrong. Mulberry. Can you guys see that? Mulberry. I planted this mulberry bush last year. So hopefully I'll get some mulberries this season. We'll see what happens. Alright, so I'm walking back under the trellis. The idea for the trellis is to have pole beans on one side and cucumbers on the other. We'll see what happens this year. Okay, this last row, or first row, depending on how you look at it, was supposed to be, I planted some things from seed. They haven't come up yet, right? Fits the theme, right? Then I planted okra. I planted okra from seed, which again has not sprouted yet, but I was at the box store and I decided to buy some that was already started and just see what happens. Again, if I get too many, I'll just thin them out, okay? So here's my okra. There's one there. There's one here. I'm going to point to it because I've got weeds everywhere too, right? There's one here. And then at the end of this row, there's okra there too. And at the end of this row down here somewhere, I believe I planted a cantaloupe, which again, from seed, still hasn't come up. So next I will plant the peppers that I just purchased. All those nice bell peppers. And we'll see how that looks. Okay, first one up looks like it's going to be the orange bell sweet pepper. I'm going to plant it about here. You can't see the soil right now, but I'm digging. So I like to keep the peppers about a foot apart. The soil in here is pretty good. I can still see where I had put, I'm placing it basically in the same spot that I had placed previous peppers, so I'm actually coming into contact with some of my compost. If you can see there, you see the red Georgia clay and then the black compost there, because I'm kind of placing in the same spot. So we're going to hope that this goes well. If you've never bought plants like this before, you're a new gardener, what I like to do is squeeze it a little bit. Give it a nice squeeze, loosen it up. I like to dump it and squeeze it like that so it doesn't fall apart. And you can see the root system. Place it in the hole. Hopefully your hole is deep enough to come up just to the top of the soil layer for the plant, which mine is, although you can't see it. Backfill with your compost and soil, and then I cover that up with mulch. And because I'm having pest issues, I'm going to right now cover it with some of my diatomaceous earth. Right? Alright, that's one. Moving on down the line. The next thing I'm going to pick randomly is another orange pepper. I think you can probably see me now. So again, this is clearly where I had a plant previously. I'm just going to move the mulch back, expose the soil, and then I'm going to dig. And yep, sure enough, you can see, oh, look at my worms, good soil. You can see the red clay and then my compost that's already there. So at least the worms like it. Worms and everything else, right? So that should be about deep enough. And I've got my soaker hoses on, so the ground is really moist right now, not like previously. So again, give your container a nice little squeeze, right? Dump it over, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Should come out nicely like that. Put it in the hole. Backfill with your soil, gently but firmly, including the worms. Putting them back in there too. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to cover it up with mulch. Not perfect, but it's there. And then I'm going to use my DE now. Okay, moving on. What's next? Let's see what's next in the container. I'm going to go about here, where it says YOLO. YOLO's gone. Very frustrating. Alright, this one is the giant macaroni sweet pepper. Also, giant macaroni sweet pepper, also something I've never done before. And I think it was about here. Somewhere. Right about in here. So I'm going to dig. Yep, I'm right. One more time. There's my compost mixed in there. It's black and red. Right? The compost that I used before is black. The Georgia clay is red, or yeah, I guess they call it red clay. So this is pretty much what I'm going to be doing. And then, again, same rules apply. Give it a nice squeeze. Dump it, squeeze. Looks good. Put it in the soil. Backfill with the worms. Cover the mulch back up. And your soaker hose. And DE. So I've got one more of these to do. One more pepper plant. And then I think I bought watermelon too. I'm going to plant 2 of the watermelons. Oh, and then I'm finally going to spray at the end with the deer and rabbit repellent. So that'll be it. Again, this is about the middle of May now. Hopefully I'll check back in with you guys in a couple weeks. And fingers crossed we've got a good garden season going along. And then hopefully it'll be warm enough. Maybe the seeds that I planted will have actually sprouted. And I'll give you guys an update on that. Again, 7B, Georgia. It's been cool. It's been rainy. I'm assuming that that's what the majority of my problem is, because this has not been this bad before. But we'll see what happens. Again, thanks for gardening with me, and I'll see you next time.